1,
2,
3,
4.
Monster movie.
Fun time, go! Monster movie.
Fun time, go. Monster.
Movie.
Fun time.
Go!
Monster movie. Fun time, go.
With Precious D and Honeybee.
Fun time, go!
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, friends and neighbors, welcome to Monster Movie Fun Time Go. 31 Days of Horror. Oops, all werewolves. I'm your host, Precious D, and with me is a guest today coming back to the show for the third year and fourth episode, I think. My good friend,
so.
Racheal McKinny. How you doing, Racheal?
Hi.
Welcome back.
I'm doing pretty good. Thanks. It's good to be back.
Today, we are talking about Kibakichi. Bakko-Yokaiden is the full title. Kibakichi is the guy's name. We were just talking about what the heck does Bakko-Yokaiden mean, because I couldn't find a direct translation. But it seems like Bakko means a couple things, but in this context, I'm going to say it means domination. And Yokaiden would appear to mean legend of the yokai, or story, or tale, or such of the yokai. The den suffix means
Any help? I feel like the
tradition.
closest, yeah.
tradition or legend or things like that. And yokai, there are yokai in this story, in this movie, so which are kind of, it's a type of sort of monster.
They're supernatural entities. They're not necessarily bad.
Yes.
They could be helpful, mischievous, or mean.
Yes, they're different from kaiju. I call them monsters, but they're not strange beasts like kaiju. Well, that's the thing. Kaiju are strange beasts. Yokai are not beasts per se. They're more, like you said, spirit kind of things.
Yeah, they're supernatural.
Yeah, these ones are mostly fine till the humans come and mess with them. The ones in this movie. Racheal, were you at all familiar with this movie before?
No, I'm
started?
actually wondering where you found it from, because I've never heard of it.
I think I first stumbled across it in the library or something years ago. I know I had seen it before, and I can't remember if I bought the DVD or if I just checked it out from the library, and I had a vague memory of it. So I was looking for Japanese werewolf movies, and it popped up, and I was like, "Oh yeah, I've seen that one. I remember that." So there you go. And there's a sequel that came out the same year, Kibakichi 2. Let's see. It came out in 2004, directed by Tomu Hiragachi. It's 96 minutes, and that's all the information I have. Let's see if the cast is not on Wikipedia, but it's on IMDb. Ryuji Harada as Kibakichi, Miki Tanaka as Anju, Mubu Nakayama as Yonosuke Yamaji, Masaki Kato as Juro Otani, Koichi Kira as Tokichi, Hideki Osako as Doro-chan. Is that the little kid?
Yeah, sounds like Doro-chan.
Tatsuo... Yeah, I'm assuming because of the Chan that's the little kid. Tatsuo Higashida as Heisei. Yukaharu Yamaguchi as Hachigoro. Chikara Motoyama as Rokusuke. Sanji Taki as Ichikawa Monosuke. Yuji Hamada as Blind Old Man. There is a bunch more listed here, but I have no idea who any of these people are. So this is a period piece. Kibakichi is some kind of a wandering samurai type guy, a ronin, I guess, and he looks like he just sort of wanders the land fighting people. So Racheal, what did you think of Kibakichi?
Kind of hard to follow. I actually had to watch it twice to kind of have a good idea of what was actually going on. I feel like the plot in itself was pretty simple. It's just kind of a war between the yokai and the humans, and the humans
Yeah.
double cross the yokai. And
Yeah. For no particular reason.
well, so let's see. I wrote his name down. Yamai-san, the guy with the beautiful ponytail. So he was using the yokai. He was talking to Onizo, the boss, the leader, to get rid of his
Yeah.
clan's enemies because Yamai wanted
Mhm.
to become the leader of the clan. And once he had Onizo do his dirty work, he got a Gatling gun and decided, well, you know what?
Yes.
We're going to use them one more time for target practice. And then he was just going to wipe them out because he was done using them.
Yeah. Once he got these, I think he was like, now that I have these guns, I don't need these yokai anymore. But rather than just leave them alone, we're going to shoot them up. And he had some kind of handheld Gatling guns as well.
Which I guess Gatling means like multi-barrel, and he did. He had the mini handheld ones, but I kind of feel
Gatling was the inventor. Mr. Gatling invented the Gatling gun. But yes, it's an early form of machine gun, automatic gun, rifle, rapid fire, which, they often show up in Westerns. This is kind of a Japanese Western. It's that time period when it was a new devastating weapon.
Yeah, so this was in the late Edo period because I looked it up. The Gatling gun was invented in 1861, and that was during the Tokugawa shogunate, and that is the military government of Japan during the Edo period. And this is when they still had the feudal political system, so they had lords and then clans and daimyo. So that made sense. Yeah. Yamai-san trying to climb up to be the leader of the clan so he can get some land.
See, this is why we have Racheal on the show, folks. And this is why I chose a movie like this for her to talk about. So it starts off with him walking along and getting in a fight, right?
Yeah, he's just wandering around, and I really think they're just showing off Ryuji's swordsman skills, because I think I read somewhere that he had acted a lot more like historical period dramas, so he was already good at swordplay. Is it called swordplay?
Yes.
That sounds okay. But yeah, I think it was just kind of
yes, that's a proper term. Yes.
Yeah, so he was already practicing it, and it's the fight choreography is actually pretty good. And I don't know how much money they had for this movie, because some of the stuff, is obviously fake, like some of the monsters and props. I think most of that budget went to Yamai's ponytail. That's though I feel like that was the best prop in the whole movie, was that ponytail.
Okay.
But anyway, yeah, Kibakichi, he has this little hat on, so he's a Ronin, because it's like I don't know what the hat's called, but it's big, and he's a Ronin because he's wearing it. And he's not wearing any shoes. He's wearing a bowl on his head. It's a shallow bowl that he put on his head.
It's one of those giant straw hats that looks like a bowl. It's pretty tattered looking, but you can't really see their face when they're wearing it. And he's got a robe on or a cape that's made out of pelts or skins.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, and then
hint at his nature.
Oh, I thought him not wearing shoes and you seeing his toes were also kind of telling you that, hey, this guy is different. He doesn't need to wear shoes.
It takes a while to get to what his actual thing is, that he's a werewolf. I think Wikipedia called him a yokai, but I don't think he's a yokai. They treat him like he's not the yokai treat him like he's not a yokai. I think
he's a yokai.
Human. You do? I thought he was a human who had, contracted werewolfism.
So he's from, I think they called it the Inugame village, and Inu means dog in Japanese. So his whole village are werewolves, I'm assuming.
That's true.
Because if you notice in that flashback, that lady Anju, she was wearing the pelt. So I think that he came from a werewolf village, and he trusted humans And that led to the downfall of the village and everyone getting killed except him and Anju. So I think he is a yokai. He's just a conflicted one.
I guess it's how you define it. But the yokai in this village certainly treat him like an outsider. Yeah, I don't know how lycanthropy works in Japan, or if it really is part of Japanese, culture and folklore, or if it's just been imported because of movies. But they seem to be, yes, he is from a village completely of werewolves, but they don't really explain are they their own thing, separate from humans, or are they just a bunch of humans that happen to become werewolves? Or we don't get a lot of detail on that. But yeah, he's clearly not normal. He's got powers, and he does, at the end, just totally turn into a werewolf. And I think once he does, he doesn't bother with the sword anymore. He just starts slashing people up.
He doesn't need the sword.
Yeah, but I think it might have been cool to see him fighting with a sword as a werewolf. But we didn't really get that.
Well, I'm sure when he was in costume, it would have been pretty hard to hold that sword with his werewolf hands, claws.
Yeah. It says here on Wikipedia that there was a Kibakichi manga, but the director just took the name and the idea of a, Ronin werewolf, but didn't really, use the actual plot. And
werewolves in Japan. Sorry.
I was to say, this might be the same thing you read about Ryoji being a television actor who'd done a lot of historical dramas and sword work.
Yeah, I just know in other Japanese media there are wolfmen. Like, I don't know if you're familiar with Naruto, but there's Kiba, and he's from like a whole family that they work with dogs and they can transform into one. And then there's Inuyasha in anime. I'm sure you've heard of Inuyasha, and he's like
I haven't seen it.
Part demon, part human, but he's got dog-like qualities too. Anyway, I think it's some kind of like archetype in Japan.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it's traditional folklore.
Right. I feel like in Japan there tends to be fox people more than wolf people.
Well, yeah, because they have the shoot, I should know more because I was just over there in May, and I went to a shrine, and there was some kind of god who used foxes as messengers. But I forgot who it was. Gosh, darn it, Rachel. It's okay. Anyway, there's a lot of inconsistencies to the story because, he comes across that blind old man, and he's like, no one ever comes back from the village. But then later down the line in the story, one of the yokai women that is the dice dealer, she's like, well, sometimes I'll let people win, so then they go and bring back more people. Like, well,
right.
That didn't make sense to me.
I guess they just don't pass the blind guy on their way out, so he doesn't know.
Maybe the blind guy didn't hear him.
There's this thing they're calling a casino. It's really just a dice game, which seems to be a very basic dice game.
Yeah, it's called Chohan.
Is this a thing where it's just, is it odd or even?
Yeah, that's the name of it, Chohan, even or odd. You just put the dice in the cup and you yell out Cho, and I think that's even, and then Han is odd. I might have it. Okay. Yeah.
So wouldn't you have because they're rolling two dice, don't you have a slightly higher chance of getting even? Because there's no one? You can't roll a one.
That's true. But yeah, Cho is even and Han is odd, and it is a gambling game in Japan. And did you notice that they weren't wearing shirts when they were playing? And the reason why they were shirtless is so that they're not cheating. So they don't have like an extra dice up their sleeve or something.
Well, but the dealer wasn't. She did take her sleeve off, though. But they're not rolling the dice, just the dealer is. And she pulled off half of her robe so that we could see there were no dice up her sleeve, I guess.
Yeah.
But she was cheating because the dice were a yokai.
Well, the people that come in don't know that. And, it took me the second time watching to realize if you saw those wanted posters of the men, I think those were the enemies of Yamai that he had Onizo take care of.
Mm-hmm.
Like they would get lured into the village under the pretense that they were there for gambling and women, and then the yokai would kill them. And that was justified because Yamai asked Onizo to take care of them because Yamai promised Onizo to fulfill his dream, which was to have the yokai live in peace.
Right. Were they like wanted posters? I mean, I guess
Sure, I
because
didn't.
some guy crosses out one of them after they've killed it. Killed that
Yeah,
person.
I'm assuming it's a wanted poster. I really didn't get the full picture until I watched it the second time. Like, oh, okay,
Right.
so that was a
I
target,
don't.
and they got him.
Yeah. Yeah. I saw this game. I think I've seen it in a different movie. I don't think I'm just remembering this movie, because in that other movie, the way the dealer dealt. This one, she holds the cup up and she has the dice in her finger and she kind of throws them in the cup. In the other one, the person put the cup down on top of the dice and then spun the cup really quickly so that it picked up the dice and held them in the cup with centrifugal force, and then slapped it back down. So they were kind of, showing off their dice skills in that one. But I don't remember what movie that would have been.
It's in a lot of movies where there's Yakuza, and I think I read somewhere that modern Yakuza still play Chohan. I've never seen it in real life. I've only seen it in like movies or anime where they're playing Chohan.
I was just about to ask if this is a thing still or if it was kind of a old-fashioned thing that you see in period pieces.
I think it's seen more in film and media.
Right.
I don't know if people actually do play it still. I haven't seen it.
It's kind of like croquet. It still exists. You can still get it, but if you see people playing it, they're probably wearing big fancy dresses and top hats and stuff in a movie.
No shirts.
Yeah. So you don't cheat at croquet? Yeah. Shirtless croquet. But yeah, it's a way to indicate old-timey pastimes. So, yeah, in the end, the yokai get betrayed with big-ass Gatling guns, and Kibakichi wolfs out and tears everybody up. But most of the village gets wiped out, though, don't they?
Yeah, they do. Which, like, them being yokai, I'm kind of sad we didn't see their true forms because, they're walking around disguised as humans. That's not their true form.
Yeah.
Like, you see that little boy, he looks up one time and you see his real yokai face, but most of the time he's disguised as a little boy.
There was one point, there was like a party they were having at night, and we saw parts of their true forms. Like one person had a really long nose, like a long spaghetti nose. And one of the women had another face on the back of her head. And so there was some of that kind of stuff. But not a lot. I mean, that costs money,
It does, which they didn't seem like they had a lot of. Usually, I'm not a big fan of the hack and slash genre of horror movies. Actually, I don't watch a whole bunch in general, but this one didn't really bother me because, I'm like, well, I know that's fake. I know that's just like a dummy. And I loved all the blood squirting. It happened in the beginning and it happened in the end.
Yeah, they do that blood fountain thing when an arm or a head or something gets cut off and it just all over the place. Okay, anything else about Kibakichi that stood out to you?
It reminded me of that movie, The Last Samurai, I think Tom Cruise was in, where, feudal era Japan's dying out and they bring out the big bad guns that were imported in and they just mow down the last remaining samurai. Except for this, it's just kind of like an analogy to me of them bringing in that Gatling gun and then killing off the yokai. It's like killing off,
right.
Traditional Japanese folklore and then getting modernized, which I'm sure wasn't the point. Go ahead.
That might have been. Well, it seems like a lot of these period films are kind of about that. And you get the same thing in American Westerns. Not all of them, but you do get some that are about the passing of that period. The civilization is coming. The frontier has been explored, and now civilization is moving in, and things are changing. And
Well,
you get that same thing with a lot of these samurai movies, that it's about the end of the samurai era.
that's true. Go ahead.
Like Seven Samurai. That's what Seven Samurai is largely about.
Oh, I watched Shogun when I was young, but I've never heard of Seven Samurai. But Wild West shows where there's the sheriff in town. You think the sheriff is like the law, and I guess he was the daimyo of that town. It's like you can really compare westerns to like Edo feudal era Japan.
Yes. Well, that's okay. So you haven't heard of Seven Samurai?
No.
It's okay. It's Kurosawa's probably his biggest film, and it's definitely the one that's been remade the most. And the first remake was as a western. And there's a couple other of his films that have been, at least one other, two. Rashomon and Yojimbo have also both been remade as westerns. So,
okay.
In the Seven Samurai, this village is being attacked by bandits, and so a couple of villagers are sent out with some money to try to hire some samurai to come protect the village. And they put together 7 of them, and they come and not only protect the village, but do a little bit of training of the villagers to protect themselves. And there is a point where the villagers dig up these weapons that they've been hiding, because I think it's illegal for them to have them. And one of the guys is pointing out to the other guy that they must have killed samurai. These weapons must be from samurai that they've killed. Because part of the whole story is that the samurai era is passing, and all these ones that gathered up are all Ronin because they don't have anything else to do other than go get paid to go protect this village. But you can take that basic idea of village bandits, hired warriors, and put it in any setting or time period, and that's what has been done. So there's science fiction, more than one science fiction version of it. There's a Western version of it. And then there is the comedic variation, which began with Three Amigos, where they intend to hire warriors, but accidentally hire performers that they think are warriors. And you see that in Three Amigos, A Bug's Life, and Galaxy Quest.
I'm getting into some Joseph Campbell stuff, some like hero's journey thing.
I have a whole list of these movies. So the Magnificent Seven is the cowboy version, but there's also the Seven Magnificent Gladiators, which is Greco-Roman version. There's a Battle Beyond the Stars, which is one kind of science fiction. There's World Gone Wild, which is another kind of science fiction. I've got a list of all the ones I could find on Letterboxd.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, Road Warrior is sort of a one-man Seven Samurai, single samurai. And it's been done on Star Wars twice. It's been done in a Star Wars comic book, and it's been done in The Mandalorian and in a Star Wars comic book. So I recommend it. It's a classic. You should watch it sometime.
You need to send me a list or something, because you have a movie suggestion every time I talk to you.
Folks, Rachel needs to watch Alien for our role-playing game this evening.
I do. I'm so behind.
Once we're done with this recording, we're going to play Alien, the role-playing game. Well, Rachel, we are using a moon phase rating scale this year. It's new, quarter, half, 3/4, or full moon. So what phase of the moon are you going to rate Kibakichi, Bakko-Yokaiden?
Man, well, it was hard to understand, and it had a pretty worn out plot storyline. I wanted to like it. I really did. But it could have been a lot better with the concept that it had. I'd have to give it like a quarter moon.
Okay. Okay. That's fair.
What did you give it?
I'm trying to remember. I think I'd give it a half moon. Just like it was okay. It's not like I didn't dislike it, you know. But I didn't feel it was bad. It was just okay. But yeah, I didn't love it.
Oh,
Not my
maybe
favorite
I
thing
was
ever.
too harsh. Yeah, I just I'm like,
No,
okay,
that's
he's like there's just like a lot of loopholes and like, okay, he's killing the kappa, and at the end, you know, kappa's the little yokai that look like turtles in the swamp river, and then in the end they're like
oh yeah.
telepathically talking to him like you can never mingle with him. And they were attacking him when he first came in, like, well, okay, that didn't make sense. There was just a lot of it that didn't make sense to me. And why? Okay, one
Mhm.
more thing. So, why did he grab Onizo's attention? Oh, he's a true gambler. We can use him. For what? What good is he going to be if he's just good at the dice game, calling out even or odd? Did this
Right. He
foresee that
needed
he
for
was going
some
to be a
reason
good
he
ally?
yeah, the yokai boss and casino owner felt the need for a lucky man. He was looking specifically for a lucky man, which seemed to be maybe even part of why he was running this casino, so that he could find somebody that's particularly lucky.
I thought the casino was a front. It was a bait, a lure.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, it didn't do him much good in the end, though, because sure, all it really gets him is revenge. It doesn't protect him or the village. So,
Well, I
there
mean,
you go.
I guess Kibakichi's
Sometimes
lucky because
revenge
he's
is all you can
alive.
get. Yeah. Yeah. Just because I'm lucky doesn't mean that you're going to be lucky being around me. My
No,
good
well,
luck
at
might be
least
your bad luck.
Kiko and the little kid survived, so that's good.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. There you go, folks. Kibakichi's not really officially available anywhere. I found it archived on the internet somewhere. So you can do that too. But that's going to wrap it up for today, I think. Be back here tomorrow for another werewolf movie. Thank you for joining me again, Rachel. It's always good to chat with you.
Good to be here.
Until next time, thank you. Until next time, I have been Precious D. Remember to keep calm and take shelter in basements. Please don't misuse science. We will not see you, but you will hear us next time on Monster Movie Fun Time Go. You've been listening to Monster Movie Fun Time Go. If you enjoyed the show, please rate and review us on your podcasting platform of choice. Our theme song is by the Texicano folk rock punk featuring Lita Lopez. You can support the show, find links to our social media, and even leave us a voice message at anchor.fm/mmftg.